The NLC is JDXL versus Riddle. We are back on the desk. Hello, Goldberg. Hello, Nightmare.
You look at it. Why are you? You're looking at the wrong people when you're saying the names.
Hi, I'm
confused.
Really, I've just discovered my love for Denmark and all things Danish.
You too.
Oh no, another one. We have lost our way. Okay, so JDXL. Is it a new champion for MNS?
I hope it is.
Yeah,
because
sure, why not?
We need to stop eventually.
So, I don't know. I mean, we have to stop eventually, but maybe when we've run out of champions.
He can't keep getting away with this. Okay, so MNS, the solo king. It's something that you talked about on the green room. Do you want to elaborate on that so everybody knows?
Actually, shout out to this goes to Zero on Twitter, who found out this stat for us. MNS has a lot of solo kills. We knew that. Yeah. What we didn't know, MNS currently is the global leader in solo kills for this season. 18 solo kills in 8 games. The second highest is Rascal in the LCK with 14. This guy cannot be stopped.
Now, granted, he is playing on a weaker level than some of the others. It is still very impressive.
It
is genuinely very impressive that he continuously finds these solo kills on a vast ocean of different matchups. It's the fact that he's doing this on different champions all the time.
On mid lane, which isn't that solo kill heavy as well.
And the thing is, why the reason why he's this good is because his fundamentals is just in check. This is a player that understands the way he's hovering once he's pushed a lane in. If we're playing down towards the bot side, and I know enemy jungler is top side, I'm always hovering right side. If I know enemy jungler is pathing towards the left, I'm pathing right, I'm doing left side, and I'm actually pushing you forward as soon as we have this jungle tracking. And I think Dan is a really good jungler at complementing a player like MNS because Dan has always been complimented for his intelligent jungle pathing in DRL and his intelligent jungle tracking. So I think you put this duo together and they just become kind of unstoppable, as we've already seen.
So let's go for another champion select. JDXL on the blue side. So this could be Riddle saving the mid lane for last so they don't get countered and they can survive. I'm not even saying win, I'm just saying surviving. Obviously, Nidalee is going to be removed. MC still dreams.
Yeah, can we just have BTXL for blue side for the rest of the game? That's the only way to keep MNS in check, making sure that he doesn't have the counter pick for the last one.
Next time Riddle get blue side, the enemy team's gonna have to ban Nidalee. They're gonna have to ban Zeri. They're gonna have to ban they've got one actual free ban.
It's true.
It's really hard to deal with them in that sense. Luckily for JDXL, of course, they have a bit more leniency with their own bans, and they're deciding, all right, Kex, not allowed to have that top diff game again with the objective.
I think that's a decent read as well. I definitely think the stronger side of Riddle is the top side. The bot lane has been very inconsistent. At times we have seen Fadigan pop up, or Fadigan rather, completely pop off, but we've also seen the other end of the coin where things just does not go well. So I would say the most consistent part of Riddle is the Kex by far. Normally I would say solo laners as well, but I gotta say Slowq has
also been
not found his footing here recently.
So then the question is, of course, actually, are you going to have the champions to draft towards that if it's so telegraphed? Because if the enemy team goes, well, we're just banning top lane because that's the only consistent part, how much can you survive with all of those target bans as well?
Now, Corki is up and available as well. Twisted Fate is up and available as well, since Zao is a decent first.
Overloaded draft again, baby.
So, it's something that we rarely see in major leagues, but we see it all the time in the ARL, which creates these super fun compositions to have a look at, especially because, as you can already see, teams are just genuinely prioritizing different champions. First pick Volibear. I would have never called this. Never.
I wasn't expecting this. This is a Tordak specialty, I guess. He's just savoring the moment, which leaves all those hyper carries, but also, do you want to play for the bot side? Do you want to save the last pick for Slowq? Just as you told us, he's not finding his right footing. So do you protect the top side and give something safe for the mid lane?
So then the question comes in, so I kind of agree with that, but then the question is, what do you do? How do you go about that? Because you've already locked in the Jhin. Very hard to abuse a Jhin. Jin's just going to do as he does, right? The question is then who you're going to give your blind picks to. Are you going to lock in something like a Flex? The Graves has already been locked in very early for Riddle. I don't know if they've only played that in top side.
It's interesting as well if they do pick top side, because with Jhin traditionally you leave it as a weak side. With Graves you leave him alone as well to just gather resources and become a side lane.
He pushes, that's what he does.
I'm assuming this will go jungle just because it would seem weird stylistically if I see this be put up towards the top side. And I will say Jhin can still be punished despite being blind picked. I definitely think when you get immobile AD carries, it majority of the time will come down to the bot side. And M&S with LeBlanc, once again, overloaded draft, something we quite often see here on blue side as well.
No, he didn't play it
He
before.
hasn't played this one. He's played
Unique
Syndra.
again.
Yeah.
He's played Syndra. He's
Can't-
played Zoe.
Can't do this.
He's played other AP Burst champions, and I just love it. I love this. LeBlanc is kind of the staple of show-off mid laners, particularly in the last couple of things. Into the Vex, yes, there's a lot of damage between the both of these. There is the chance for solo kills in either direction.
Now,
But, yeah.
traditionally with the Vex into the LeBlanc matchup, Vex obviously with the knockdown rather, on her full Fear Bar is super good into LeBlanc. But an adaptation you can make on LeBlanc instead is go airy and go for a more poke-oriented build with your Qs instead.
Or Showmaker could do similar at Worlds actually and stuff like Galio.
Exactly. So this is something where you can cheat the matchup a little bit, which I'm curious to see how M&S will pilot. But moving into this one, actually banning away a lot of disengaging supports. And once again, I want to emphasize when you have immobile AD carries like Varus, like Jhin, the support matchup does become incredibly important because whoever gets the upper end of that coin gets to dictate the bot lane.
Specifically because this should be an attack speed Varus. So what do you bring to protect this one if you don't have something like the Thresh or the Mega Engage, which is the Leona? Do you pair it up with the Nautilus? Do you go for something more spicy? Because it's Jhin.
Well, what I was actually wondering is if they do something like that Volibear in the jungle, if they go for something like a Smite top support, but then the Braum ban comes through. So Braum with the extra Enchanter on the table does make things a little bit spicy. He's trying to get towards that backline. Obviously, probably not going to be the case with the Braum taking off there, though, but it's nice to dream. But now you're looking at the second bans coming through, and JDXL trying to ban away some of the more volatile solo laners again.
Yeah, they are, and I think it just comes down to that they know that Riddle most likely is just going to fall figure support, and then afterwards they should get the counter pick for themselves. Unless Riddle just want to say, you know what, we value bot lane that much, but I don't see why that should happen when you have a Jhin rather, as an AD carry. So yeah, support bans are coming through, and this is quite a big champion pool of the support that's taken away. Rakan has quite a lot of value here because the owner's off the table, Nautilus is off the table as well, so some of this immediate CC on this champion can just pretty much be removed.
You really need something to answer the LeBlanc as well as just the Vex, though, because all you've got right now is like Flash Vex W. If LeBlanc is ready to free fire, giving that to a player like M&S, that seems like a lose condition. I don't think you can give a shooting gallery to LeBlanc. Rel helps, but again, it's not perfect.
There's a few enchanters right here that has a lot of high value for JDX. Now, traditionally, Kyrgyz go for engage supports. There's just not that many left. Alistar is something we traditionally would see get picked into Rel. Rel has a little bit of an edge in that matchup because
Gragas
she can E
support.
with the W as well as the engage and the Alistar at the same time. But once again, if you pick Lulu, the movement speed around kiting with the Varus is super nice. The extra movement speed on the Volibear is super nice. And this goes for Yuumi, Karma, Lulu. Like, there's a lot of enchanters with high value right now in this composition, but it's going to be interesting to see what they value. Once again, an engage on Kyrgyz or the more value on the enchanter in the composition.
And we also now have this point where the Graves is still not locked into top or jungle.
Yes.
It could actually be against either of them. So we see an ooh, we hear an ooh from the casters on the other side of the room, as it's going to be Kyrgyz's Galio coming back in. Now, the first time he played this, I was very impressed with it. He was everywhere, turning up in lanes where you didn't expect him to be. And it's another kind of way to keep just so many people off of your Varus, because you got the ult, you got the W, lots of ways to control the defensive space.
It's also a thing that lets you 1-1 instead because you will have a Galio combined with the Camille. So obviously Hectic Ultimatum combined with Galio's Ultimate, just super easy lockdown. Not only just on side lane, but also in a team fight. So it's creating engages for them that they can play around. Now on the other side of Riddle,
All right, that's the
they've
first time I've seen that
locked
for a
something
while.
into counter this one, and this is actually super surprising. I did think they would go with the Gwen and try and match the side lane, but Shen,
Talk to us
high value
about this.
champion here. What, he's happy about Shen? Is that like
Talk
a
to us
I was
about
a
Shen.
one-trick pony Shen back
Ah,
in
I
the day,
see.
and I
Happy
love
ball.
the matchup. Oh, I got to diamond really easily.
Yeah.
Camille versus Shen, I love the Shen versus the Camille. You can just dodge everything. You can block it with the W. You can just run away from it as well. You have a lot of pressure on the map. Even without the TP, you can bring the Ignite, be more aggressive, level 6
And
rotate.
you can
I'm so happy with this.
Also be like,
Are we seeing Ignite or TP?
I would like to see TP competitive.
TP
On this
but
competitive?
You know what I would like to see?
Boring.
I would like to see
Give me the
like,
Ignite.
the cowboy riding the rocket of Shen riding the Vex into battle. That's what I want to see.
This is amazing. So another champion for the mid lane for M&S, but the Ninja is back. And I would like to use my ultimate, Stand United, for the caster's desk.
All aboard the Vex Express, taking off from mid lane and landing in the middle of those team fights.
Vex into the team fights? What?
Just like, you know what? I'm going to leave that one on Nightmare. He's just got this beautiful image of the explosive Vex going in and Shen offering some shit.
I'm going to do some selfless promo here, some selfless, shameless
Shameless,
plug.
but so selfless is probably not the word I was going for.
I think
Very
MC looked at my TikTok.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What did he see on your TikTok?
I don't know. You guys are going to have to check
really?
it out.
The thing is, I set you up for that, and I hope you were going to be like, no, it literally was straight plug. Still, I think we do have to turn out.
They can take a, they can take a guess with what MC has picked in this game. Honestly, it's not a surprise. I'm not a big fan of the Graves. I'm more of a fan of the Graves when he's on a solo lane because he can get to, farm a little bit, slowly but surely, become that menace in the late game. I just despise him as a jungler because I find him very
one of the
useless.
first things I ever learned from you when I was commentating last year as a guest on the NLC.
This is the first time on air I've almost dropped an F-bomb, and it's due to Graves.
For those who don't know, Trouble's hatred of Graves in the jungle is quite renowned among the casting community. She detests it. Just can't stand it.
Okay, but in all fairness, this is MC Graves. This is something that he's really known for. Back when the Hecarim, Udyr, Graves, Nidalee meta, the whole farming junglers kind of scenario was coming up. MC was really huge at this. Playing the Nidalee and playing the Graves and maining both of these champions was obviously pretty huge. And when you can play them to perfection, Graves can be extremely annoying if played really well.
Absolutely. Quick heads up, guys. We are just dealing with a slight delay in game, so bear with us. We'll be heading in shortly, but it does give us a little bit of time
to persuade people on why they shouldn't be Graves.
I was going to talk about...
I'm just going to leave it up to you.
I wanted to talk about Kecks and Cries instead.
Tweet Smolds, plug my TikTok.
Just get off the... Right, enough of this. Bring them back. We're at the game. The moment I kick you off, we get the game. Genius. We're back. And as we were saying, what I was going to try and get us to talk about a little bit was Kecks versus Cries.
You want to talk League of Legends?
I do want to talk briefly about League of Legends as Sothoch, Destroyer of Worlds, Devourer of Breadcrumbs, once again makes his awesome presence known. Sothoch, Destroyer of Worlds, Devourer of Breadcrumbs. Gender undefined, because I hadn't thought about that. I just came up with the name a while ago and decided that Duck was in fact an evil member of the Void.
Yeah.
That's just my personal headcanon. You're going to have to deal with it. Instead, Camille, Shen, Kecks, Cries, both of these players have been such a big deal for both of these teams. Kecks, in their last game when it looked really dicey, pulled off a mother of all Renekton games. And I need to see what he can do on another pick that can offer so much pressure, like a Shen, just turn up where you need him to.
So here's the thing with Riddle. I find Riddle to be a little bit hit and miss. Some of the games will go great, some other games will be disastrous completely. I don't think I have seen Riddle ever in a middle ground scenario. A lot of the times, one of their members is going to have to come up ahead and 1v9. That member in their previous game against Astralis was Kecks. He went so far ahead onto his Renekton, way ahead of the curve, to the point where he was able to 1v9. Astralis almost won that game. Had Kecks not been that fed, had Kecks not played the fights to perfection with how fed he was, it would have been a very dicey moment for them. Now, talking about Kecks and why we're focusing so much on that is that he's on a Shen right now. He's not necessarily on a high carry champion that he can carry the entire team fight 1 versus 9. That weight is going to fall on other members on the side of Riddle. And here's where we want to take the magnifying glass out and be like, okay, who can actually carry the game? So who has enough consistent damage? Who has insane scaling into the late game? And who has the required peeling to play the team fights around a LeBlanc and a Volibear and a Galio? My answer to that is unfortunately Graves. Unfortunately for me, but the reality here is that obviously, Graves is one of the strongest champions when it comes to scaling a late game, especially when you go towards the Bloodthirst / Shield Ball build, means that nobody can poke you out of nowhere and you can dish out so much damage. Now, I'm going to move away from the Graves because we're talking scaling, we're talking late game, we're talking way later on. I'm going to sit on that mid lane because, man, MNS, it's that time, I'm sorry again, guys. MNS has pulled out his 9th unique champion in 9 games. I think at this point for this guy, it's a game. It's a game. He opens the grid of champions and he sees the ones he's played grayed out, and he has to choose from the remaining ones.
He's basically just going through going, I've not had one in this ladder yet. Let's get one on the L, that'll work.
When I asked him when is Katarina coming out, he said next life.
I'm
not gonna be
so sad
alive.
for you.
I'm not going to be alive next live to see it.
All I'm saying is, for our other one-trick aficionado, semi-speaking, of course, Nightmare, big Ari player, and Ari's kind of good right now with some of the changes that come
Are
through.
you trying to trigger me?
So I'm just trying to say.
So Nightmare gets Arya, get Graves.
Yeah, you get Graves. I'm sorry. Like, I feel that's probably not the best trade for you, and I'm sorry for that. But hey, at least you got something, even if it was rage-inducing.
Obviously, we're having a little bit of fun because the early game seems
Oh,
to be
never
a little
mind.
bit,
No.
It's slow until Eminence always decides to dive a tower. That was a beautiful chain that he landed on Slowq. Slowq could have tried to flash that, didn't think it was going to hit him. He got the chain through 5 minions. I don't know if we can have that replay from our amazing team of observers. But again, I don't know how many solo bolos this guy has, man. It's just insane at this point.
He's on about 2.5 solo kills a game. This man is a monster. We tried for once to focus somewhere that wasn't mid lane for JDXL. And instead, the moment we try to look elsewhere, the moment we try to talk about things like Camille versus Shen, this interesting dichotomy of styles, M&S pulls off a mother of all solo kills in that lane. Great stuff from this guy on his 9th unique champion again.
So, let's talk a little bit about how this matchup goes. Because I find it really interesting. I'm just seeing right now that M&S has gone for Resolve as his second tree, together with Electrocute for his main one. Now, the thing is, Slowq has Flash, and they're gonna take his Flash.
They're going to get the chains as well, but here comes MC and Nukes. They're going to force that turn. That's a Flash crash down. Going to try and get as much damage onto Kikis as they can. No Flash, no way out. And Riddle counter beautifully in the mid lane.
Really, really good read right there by Nukes and MC. They knew that, you know what? M&S is a guy who doesn't hit once. He keeps hitting once he starts pinning you down, and I knew he was gonna go on the aggression again. This time he calls Kikis in the mid lane, and the second they take Slowq's flash, I think this is well you call it quits. You know, you're taking his flash, that means that M&S is extremely dangerous onto the LeBlanc when it comes to Vex. Now, let's talk a little bit about how this works, the Vex versus LeBlanc, because we saw M&S get a pretty easy solo kill. So, the thing with Vex is that she gets to push really easily. All 3 of her abilities can clear wave really quickly. Now, where the problem starts here with LeBlanc is that once LeBlanc sees you using your passive, which is the Fear, just to clear out the way, she has the green light once you don't have a lot of these spells to fear the LeBlanc, to trade you, which means all you have to defend yourself with is a shield. And if you don't have the Fear, you cannot pin down the LeBlanc to reply onto that trade. So it's really extremely clever right here from M&S to run the Resolve as second tree, grab the bomb plating as well, and be able to win on these trades. Because as you see, Slowq pushes down the mid lane, he keeps the Fear on him, which means that M&S cannot double you in to try and trade with him.
Can't, but now with the level 6 available, gets the double distortion there.
Okay. I would like to pinpoint what happened here. Once Slowq uses his passive Fear on the E, that procs bone plating on LeBlanc, which means that you don't get to do that much damage onto the LeBlanc, and LeBlanc gets to trade with you now that you don't have Fear. You know who else has no Fear?
Oh dear.
Shen doesn't have no Fear because he's trying to channel his ultimate away, but...
Stand united, but he falls divided. Cries gets the hook shot, gets
Still
that
no
kill,
Fear.
and Dan just turns up there and gets that one.
Yeah. And onto the Volibear. We saw Taxa pull the Volibear in the previous game. Not much happened in the early game. Dan, right here, gets towards the top side of the map, gets Cries ahead onto the Camille, who has actually been struggling against Kekt's Shen. Now I'm wondering.
Yes.
I'm wondering.
What are you?
Because Dan is going to continue making plays on the map. Dan is about to hit level 6, and once he does, you bet he's going to try to pull something on the map.
Oh, Nukes went forward trying to get that root onto Zamalek, who'd been stunned in place, but a cleanse and a turnaround, and Nukes is dead in the 2v2.
This is a little bit disastrous, honestly, for Riddle. They're losing members in the mid lane, they're losing members in the top lane, they're losing members in the bot lane, and it's becoming a little bit disastrous. Against Kikis is hiding into the burst, and once they get Zamalek, beautiful cleanse right there. Kikis goes straight onto Nukes. Nukes, remember, has no flash from that engage that happened in the mid lane, and he ends up instantly going down.
She might have an iron horse, but she's still pretty squishy, especially when she's running the Glacial. Tried to get on top of Zamalek, did Nukes, but just couldn't get there. And that counter from Kikis, as you said, so well timed. Great turnaround and a bit of a recovery from that, a bit of redemption, rather, from that mid lane play that kind of went awry for Kikis earlier on.
If you're Riddle, you really need to slow down. You really do. You have Graves that's scaling really well into the late game. Your Jink
Oh,
provides a
no.
lot of damage.
Oh,
Isn't
no.
Scaling. He can't
Oh,
scale
no.
it. He's dead.
MC gets eviscerated by his own Raptor camp. Kikis and Dan pairing up to secure that one.
You need to slow down. Get out of sticky situations like this. Kikis has been with Dan the entire time, the entirety of the NLC. We've said this over and over and over again, that Kikis role swap from jungle. He's played jungle in all the teams he's been in, EU, LCS, any other ERL, any other league he's played in. He's been a
so
jungler.
cute.
And MNS, I'm not even surprised at this point.
We can't start any other conversations, Trouble, because every time we try to talk about anything that's not immediately on screen, M&S gets a solo kill.
I feel like
What is
I
this?
feel like the thing is Riddle just overextending situations that they shouldn't be. Like Slowq clearly has underestimated the power
Oh,
of the LeBlanc.
lordy lord. Here we go again. It'll be MC caught up. He's going to try and get some damage down, but Cry secures that one, and the solo laners of JDXL just putting on a clinic right now.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much a showcasing of how strong JDXL are in the early game, and honestly, they've put to work the volley bet. Eminence is doing Eminence things in the middle. He doesn't actually need anyone. Kryze is flanking from the bot side of the map. They've swapped their bot lane top side of the map to take the Rift Herald as well. They're gonna put it down. Their bot lane is ahead. They'll get a bunch of platings to the top lane.
Get the
They'll
tower.
take the first tower into Zamulet's pocket as well. And mind you, Zamulet is on a champion that he has been stellar on. So no matter where we look from the side of JDXL, it just looks very, very, very promising. And honestly, I think Riddle need to seriously slow down the pace, give some room to MC to grow stronger towards the late game. Slowq needs to play it a little bit slower. There's been a lot of times where he's fumbled in the laning phase, where he's fumbled in team fights. This is where he actually needs.
Oh, no, no. Oh, my
Surely
days.
not.
He's going back. He's going to head forwards again. He's thinking about it. MC's around. Of course, M&S does still have the flash. He's hanging around. Look where Kikis is. He's got level 6. There is the heroic entrance. But they won't keep doing it. And actually, Riddle in a 3 versus 1 are forced
You know
back.
what? You know what? Eminence reminds me of the meme where it's like, this man enters the bar
Yeah.
and starts talking to your girlfriend. What do you do?
It
And
just-
I throw my hands up and leave.
It's
you know?
just hand it. Just say, you know what?
Yeah, just take your girlfriend, man. I'm
you know, take me out, please, M&S.
Screw the girlfriend. take me out.
Like, where's my whining and dining? Anyway, this is JDXL in a nutshell.
You're greedy.
Just dominant lanes that lead into incredible strangling jungle control. Kikis and Dan have already made MC's life a hell, and M&S and Christ, they just turn up in their lanes and they pull off stuff like that. I mean, it's looking... You saw Nymera earlier saying, I actually think JDXL are the best team in the league. And you can see why in a game like this.
I like to see what happens in a game where Eminence falls behind. This is my real issue right here. I've not seen Eminence fall behind. Even the game they lost versus X7, Eminence solo kill tempt.
Yeah. I mean, that game was a wonderful battle between the mid laners. Don't get me wrong, but holy.
Diffy. But when Eminence is able to pull out so many solo kills, it gives so much freedom to the jungle and the rest of the map to make plays, and Eminence is making another one.
It's going to be a 3 versus 3, because of course Kikis can come down. They get the knock-up. It's a flash out from Slowq, but the Magnet Storm now coming through on a Kikis who's getting dragged around and taken down. And JDXL overextend for a first time in a while, but they can keep chasing because they have the Shadow Surge, and M&S flashing away, still tanking up that bone plating, proving its worth one more time. Kex now on this blast code. Actually might now be in the spot of bother. I don't know whether you win this one.
Kryze is coming though, he's around the corner.
Yeah,
he has ult.
He does, he could just keep going forwards. There's the Hextech ultimatum, and Kex is seeing that one being written down. The chains come through, the Ignite is on, and M&S gets another.
Name of the game for JDXL, they overextend, but then in return, Riddle overextends, and now Zamulet has overextended down the bot lane. He's trying to dodge the bullets, one more MC.
Does manage to get on MC, can't chase. Did have the flash, but not enough damage, I don't think. But now Riddle may have overextended again. The counter engagement from JDXL have been so good. Hook shot into the Storm. Bringer does a lot of work, but Riddle have got the damage, have got the CC to disengage.
Yeah, I think if Eminence is not around, you cannot necessarily overextend. Zamulet has not been back to buy his first item. Camille doesn't do that much damage, and especially once he doesn't have ult, you can't lock anyone down. So even if Dan really jumps into a Rel Jhin, you can't necessarily necessarily really kill them, especially when you've got MC around onto the graves. Now that all the mythics have been completed, you can start looking to pick up this fight. Now that you've got the Sunder, now that you've got the Kraken, you can start seeing these openings on the map and trying to take the trades, because before that you needed MNS to be around.
Okay, it's 2 levels down, needs to be a little afraid. And I was about to talk about JDXL and that jungle control again. Look where all those control wards across the jungle are. They've got one behind the red buff. They had one in the entrance to the blue side jungle of Riddle. They've just lost a couple wards, but they were all over the place. And Riddle constantly playing like it's like kind of like counter spying. You're dealing with all these bugs planted all over your house, and JDXL just know everything about you right now.
Yeah, the thing is, for JDXL, they can actually... They're actually allowed to commit and overextend because they have so many slippery targets, right? They've got the LeBlanc that can jump around. They've got the Volibear, who's very tanky. They've got the Camille, who can hop, skip, and jump as well. They've got so many slippery champions in their hands. On the other side of Riddle, if you get caught, you get caught. Yep. You're not necessarily too mobile to be able to get away. So once you play too close to the LeBlanc, who's slippery, and she overextends, she hasn't really, because she can jump back to her distortion. And honestly, I'm gonna go back to my point where if you're the jungler and the mid lane is always open for the opponent, because MNS can solo kill anyone and everyone who steps into their mid lane and probably centimeter away from the tower as well.
Oh, slow Q.
It makes it so much easier
oh boy.
to play the game. I mean, you can't take this ult in, can you?
Gonna try and take it away. They're gonna go in anyway. MNS does go invisible thanks to that passive. Now Kikis potentially in a spot to bother, does flash away from that final shot, takes a lot of damage, is sent fleeing. They're gonna continue trying to chase. One final auto would do it, but Kryze goes in to buy space. He's doing a lot of damage. MC taken pretty damn low. Collateral damage has come through, but Dan here to try and turn it around with that Stormbringer. Kryze continuing to step forwards. MNS as well is there. Here comes Keck turning around with the stand united. Ethereal chains disengage, and JDXL do get a kill.
We just talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah,
MNS
literally.
dives the tower, gets caught, pulls every ultimate from Riddle in his face. Ooh, nice dodge.
Oh,
from
so much
Fadichan.
damage. Gonna keep trying! My days, that was an auto apart. Fadichan wins the 1v1.
That was a very clutch Gale Force right there from Fadichan. Had he not gotten that, again, great 1v1. Samuel does this all the time, whether he wins the 1v1s or not.
He takes them. Kex now going to be in trouble because, of course, Kryze is here with that heroic entrance, and it's just action across the map. Kex going to get knocked down. That is a kill over to Kikis.
I'm going to stop trying to make a point.
No, stop it. There's no time.
Because
Why would you do that?
there is no time. We've got, what, 12 kills in 15 minutes. MNS diving, tier 1 mid lane towers. Every ultimate pulled on him. He still manages to get out. JDXL turning around, and we go back to the point. He is too slippery on these sort of champions. The Zeds, the LeBlancs, the Zoes, you cannot pin him down. And he creates at the start very sticky situations for his own team where they actually get into trouble to try and bail him out. But once they do, they instantly turn it around due to the fact that they're so far ahead in items and levels.
And of course, at this point in the game, it's still only half items at a difference, but give it another minute or so, and that's going to convert into a full item.
Lads running a Ludens.
Yeah, right.
A lost chapter.
Yeah, look, I was trying to be nice, but you're right. Slowkey was a long way behind that LeBlanc, and Nukes is just dead. Kryze went forward, but of course a well-timed personal space there prevents any further ingress from Kryze on the Camille, but with that big engage tool down, JDXL are going to set up court in this mid lane and try and charge into this mid lane tier 1.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to try and dive, but you have all the tools that you need. Volibear can disable the tower, Kryze can lock someone in, Galio can knock everyone up. But what you also have in your toolkit is very strong champions that can side lane. MC is running for his life. MC...
Just this jungle support duo. It's the Bash Brothers. MNS comes over, helps secure another kill. Slowkey was rooted in place by the ethereal chains, but they won't chase on any further. Mid lane tower went down all the while, and JDXL just running complete mastery over this map. It's a 1v1 on the top side now as Kryze is winning that one out with the precision protocols, and now needs to be a little afraid. Flash away, but still gets it! Perfectly timed flash to secure that hookshot landing.
But still, Kryze was 2-0-4, 1.5 items in, and Kex seemed to be coming out ahead on that trade. Really clutch flash right there from Kex, and Kryze to follow it up to land the stun lock there. Overall, I think JDXL are playing with their foot a little bit. They're taking random 1v1s in the top lane. They're trying to catch people in the jungle. Eminence is doing his own thing, where he's actually been the scariest monster anyone has ever seen on the Rift.
It's standard stuff for him.
Yeah.
And on the other side for Riddle, we asked for a more stable performance across the board, not just one person stepping up. Unfortunately, I'm looking at a 1-4 Kets, a 1-4 MC. We've been over slow queues situation from lane. Fadachan's doing okay, but honestly, I'm not sure there's even one person stepping up right now.
I don't think I can blame anyone from the side of Riddle right here, because I see... Yeah, that's MNS. Okay.
Yeah.
You got another solo kill on the bot side of the
just
map.
off screen. Yeah.
So the
Goodbye,
thing
MC.
is, when you've got someone like MNS who completely destroys mid lane and bleeds the pressure into the jungle, that gives so much freedom to Dan to do whatever the heck he wants. That gives so much freedom to Kikis to do whatever the heck he wants together with
What?
Dan. And MNS...
Well, that's by his base gates!
He's just chilling literally outside of your base.
I'm sorry, as a jungler, that's making me incredibly upset. You do not get to get solo killed by your own base gate.
The problem here is you've got no CC to pin down that LeBlanc.
Oh,
Hey, you can
Dan?
pin down Dan though.
Maybe you can give him a go. They're going to call the curtains. Dan, kind of a little bit unsure about where to head off. Going to get stumped, but does have a shield coming through. Now they're going to try and get an engage. Nukes goes forward, forces a flash out of both Dan and Zamalek there at the end of it all.
And the dragon is coming up on the bot side of the map. This is going to be the second dragon of the game. Of course, the whole bot side of the map is fully worded for JDXL, just for the bonus of having M&Ms on a side lane and pushing it constantly. No one can go against this LeBlanc, level 13.
Oh, Lord.
On the rest of the board, we have 11, 10, 12, 11, and 8. No one can go against this LeBlanc. And I'm going to go back to my point. You do not have enough CC to lock down the LeBlanc to kill the LeBlanc, because the Camille that could potentially lock her down is playing with her on the same team. So MNS is a huge problem right here. And
no!
Yeah, he's a huge problem right here, and they're going to have to be very creative to try and shut him down.
5, 0, and 2. And basically every time I've been able to say the words oh and no, and then someone is dead.
I think he's had 4 solo kills this game. 4.
Yeah. 4 solo kills. And this is a guy who is literally 2 completed items plus boots versus a bargain bucket in slow queues inventory. That is the difference in mid lane. And they've literally killed the jungle. They're going to start up this Baron, and there is nothing at all that Riddle can do. Nothing at all.
This is a 10,000 gold lead, 20 minutes
before the Baron's gone.
It is huge. It is huge. And the problem isn't even the gold lead right now. If you completely ignore all the gold and all the items, it's also the compositions, right? There is so much lockdown, there's so much CC, there's so much caging on the side of JDXL, as well as there is slipperiness. You cannot necessarily catch a lot of the targets. Volibear has the ultimate to get away. Kryze has the hookshot to get away. LeBlanc is so slippery as any champion, and you just do not have enough CC from the side of Riddle to lock them down, to try and pick someone apart. So usually I would say, if you can't beat them in a team fight, try to pin someone down in the side lane. It's just so difficult.
21 minutes into the game, slow queue finally completes his first item.
Versus 2.5.
Versus 2.5.
From anyone, pretty much.
They're literally,
JDXL.
That is massive. Wards have gone down now for the side of M&S. They're starting to ingress again into the jungle here, take control of the vision, choke people out. It is their modus operandi. Control the jungle, control the game, do it with M&S being able to pull off stuff like this. Maybe has gone too deep though, stunned in place, but he's over the wall. The Shadow Surge still lands, flash away, there's just not enough damage. M&S finally shut down, finally gotten a kill, and that might actually buy some space as Kryze is into the backline, murdering Fadichan, gets that one. Dan going to get as much across as they can as Kick has to flash across the wall. That's a 1-for-1.
Okay, that was very cocky coming in from MNS.
yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna dive in. I know Slowq has his fear, but I don't care. Guess what? The only thing you have to fear is Slowq's fear, because once that locks you down, then they can chain the CC. Very good shield usage right there from Slowq. They pull in the Shen ultimate as well, and it was one lock CC into another one, and MNS ends up going down. No matter what JDXL could do right there, no one could help MNS in this situation. They tried, and he's slippery, but they finally pinned him down. Does that make it any easier for Riddle? No, it was pretty much MNS running it down there, and I don't think he's gonna do it again.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he wants to close the game out.
That was a little overeager there from JDXL.
A little running, you know, a little running.
Yeah, you saw like Dan trying to ult as Graves, you know, like quick draws over a wall, and then Kick is having to ult into a flash out. You know, a little bit overeager as MC does force Kryze to back out, and at least for Riddle, this does stymie that Baron push somewhat. That could have been base breaking actually, and instead, JDXL might not even get that opportunity anymore, as Kex though is going to be in a spot of bother here, finds both Solans, but does get the stun. There's the flash out. Still going to go run down here. I just don't think there's a way out. Rooted in place. Will be able to secure this kill, though. M&S does get it, but now needs to back off as quick as they can. MC does a lot of damage there with the collateral damage, and that's actually a decent turner as M&S still pretty low. Slow Q chunked out, but going to continue chasing forwards with that Shadow Surge, but I think he's gone too deep now, and M&S goes forward to delete MC. Zamalek gets the jungler, and it was a feel-good moment for Riddle, but they just don't have the damage.
Yeah, that was again JDXL overextending way too much. And you're not against a sustained Graves. These Graves hurt. It's the full lethality Graves with the Eclipse. And yes, MC cannot sustain too much through these fights, and he cannot play the front to back. But if you overextend, he can kill you with 3 autos, a Q, and an ultimate. So with 2 autos, sorry, a Q and an ultimate. And this is exactly what happened. Both Kryze and M&S are trying to catch Kex right there. You'll see that Kryze does not have the ultimate to lock him down, and that was a very, very good chain to lock Kex. But the smoke screen created so many problems for M&S and Kryze. They couldn't move forward, and Slowky gets a beautiful ultimate. And the problem here is he has connected his ultimate onto Dan, and he presses R2 onto a volley bear without a fear on him as his passive. So again, it's the same thing that we're talking about, right? JDXL overextends, Riddle capitalizes. They've capitalized a lot of times on JDXL overextending, and then they overextend themselves.
Yeah, it's all well and good getting a first-class ticket on the Vexpress, but you did not want to get off at that station.
Express, I like that.
See, I'm going to keep that one.
like
See?
that.
Steal it. You have it, my blessing. I hand it to the world. Just, I don't know, credit me or something. Kick is going to secure more division control. I've said that a lot about this game as
M&S.
M&S is just hunting around, just watching. He's going to head on to
Play through the.
Yeah, oh, look, I'm
the
looking
map.
at Cact's health bar right now, and it's dwindling somewhat. Does have to get out there with the Shadow Dash. There we go, I remember what
That's
that's
it.
called.
You cannot play the side lanes.
Nope.
Slowk, you cannot face M&S. Kex cannot face M&S, and he's literally taking waves solo on the side. No one can stop him. No one can pin him down. The only time they have been able to pin him down is when he dived all alone straight into 5 people. No fear.
Yeah.
Run it a little bit. Got punished for it. He hasn't done it again. But he's still, you know what? He's kind of playing Call of Duty here, where you always had a camper at some like corner of a room of a building.
No scope!
Yeah.
Fadichan gonna try and get out. Not Fiddlestick.
Close.
I've called Fadichan Fiddlesticks there, which I don't think is quite appropriate.
I mean, he does look like a fiddle stick.
Yeah, brilliant. Definitely feeling somewhere between survival horror and first-person shooter as M&S. Definitely looking for that 1v1 on Rust. Right now, though, Kryze shoving up the one sideline, M&S in the other, and neither the Camille or the LeBlanc are people you want to just. They are the joint highest levels in the game. You can see the items in inventory. I'm pretty sure M&S is doing near true damage right now with the amount of magic pen he's got.
Honestly, the only thing you can do if you're Riddle is bundle up as 5 members and pray that Slowk is going to catch someone
Like
that's
that.
diving in with the fear, and you're going to lock someone down. And one by one, trying to take shutdowns on the side of JDXL, try to cash in on some bounties. Obviously, some of the stuff that I'm saying is a little bit overzealous, I would say, because there's 14,000 gold difference between the 2 teams.
Massive.
And obviously, we're like trying to find the win con if there is any, but this game is as good as over.
It is a miracle. It's the kind of things that would go down in league history books, never mind NLC history books. JDXL are just that far ahead. They're going to start up a second Baron. There's no way Riddle can come and contest, so they will secure it. And with this Baron, they will be looking to put the final nail in this coffin. It's already lowered 6 feet down. They just need to put the dirt on top.
Yeah.
I love the response, and the analysis is like,
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty dire for Riddle. I'm not gonna lie to you. I cannot find many win conditions. If they had any easier CC, I would say maybe. If there was a Rakan instead of Harel, I would say maybe. If there was a Lulu instead of Harel, I would say maybe. But it is just so difficult to pin this man on your screens down. He's gonna do it again. He's just looking for people 1v5. He doesn't care.
Just look how dark this map is, and unfortunately, LeBlanc's thrive in the dark, and that's just a dead Fadichan, but no, managed to cleanse away the Ignite, so won't burn down. But my days, the summoner's down, and that was just a single rotation from M&S. Wait for the ultimate back, but he can keep doing it. He's just over the wall.
That is fine, as long as you get to push someone off of the tower, it means that this minion is going to do that much more damage. It means that your team is able to push forward until somebody returns from the fountain. You've pushed yet another wave, and look at the top lane, Kryze is pushing as well. Your bot lane wave is pushing. There's going to be 3 waves pushing into Riddle's base, and then you also have to deal with M&S, who's a menace right now.
And M&S at this point, with how far LeBlanc is went in, got rooted in place by a perfect Chains of Corruption. Slow Q's into the backline, trying to get Zamalek, just can't do it. M&S secures that one all the while. The fight in the base continues. Dan gets one, Kickers gets another, and it's Fadichan and Kex left alone. And JDXL eviscerates Riddle. It was a brutal demolition. Solo kill after solo kill. And JDXL have seen all the hype around X7, and they've gone, you best not be forgetting about us. They will tie for first. They will stay in arm's reach. 8-1 at the end of the first round robin.
And honestly, what a clinic.
Oh, naughty God.
Okay, M&S, now you're showing off, man. Now you're actually showing off, man. How many solo kills? I wish we could get a call from production to tell us how many solo kills, because this must have been 6 or 7 solo kills in one game. And again, when you have this man dismantling mid laner after mid laner after mid laner, your jungle can do whatever they want on the map.
Someone better stick up a massive bounty, get the police involved, because there is a murderer.
9 unique champions in 9 games.
I think that was about 6 solo kills, if I remember.
So what was it? XL made the Masters finals in 2021 spring.
They're looking to come back. They're looking to...
Maybe it's time to win.
Yeah, like someone needs to call Interpol. This guy is a cross-regional murderer.
Someone call, because they're not winning this one.
As you know, well, we're cutting to a break, and I hope those scenes don't scar you too badly. We've got 2 more games to go. Stick around, and we're back after this.